Hello and welcome to another video. In this one, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's being praised as one of the best movies of the year, and some would say one of the best movies ever made. So, does it live up to the hype? Let's get ready to jump into a review, and we'll talk about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Welcome once again, my name is Austin, and on this channel we talk about one of my favorite things in the world, movies, and how I tie together my faith with film and everything that's in between. So let's kick things off with talking about the story. So the synopsis says, Miles Morales catapults across the multiverse where he encounters a team of spider people charged with protecting its very existence. When the heroes clash on how to handle a new threat, Miles must redefine what it means to be a hero. Now, I thought the story for this movie is one of those ones that you only get a taste of through that synopsis and through trailers and looks through pictures and all that kind of stuff. You only get a taste of so much, which was very refreshing, something I really appreciated because a lot of that stuff just gives too much away these days. So I liked that we really didn't know a ton going into this movie, and there's so much more depth to this story that's being told all throughout, and it's really fleshed out really well. And before I get too far into talking about the story, I will be saving any spoiler points or discussion to the end of this video. So if you've not seen the movie yet, you don't have to worry about spoilers until I give that spoiler warning at the end of this video. Now, I will say the story does take a little while to get going, but it's never boring or loses your interest or unimportant. Now, some may be bothered by that slow start, but it's all very intentional and methodical to setting up this epic story that's being told across this journey. This slower start gives us the time to catch up on the characters, what they've been up to, and overall filling in details about the world and adding more to the lifelikeness of these characters that fill it. We get a ton more Gwen's story, which was probably one of my favorite aspects of this movie. I won't go into too many details on it till we talk some spoilers in a bit, because her story is very influential on and impactful on this story of this movie. And then every other little story that kind of gets introduced along the way also has its individuality but fits into the greater structure of the story, and like nothing is wasted, no opportunity is missed with these stories. They all contribute in some kind of bigger, more important way. Even something like Miguel O'Hara's Peter B. Parker's new story, as we're catching up with him on what he's been up to, The Spot, they all contribute to the bigger story. Nothing's wasted. So I really appreciated all of that work that was put into building this story. Moving on to the performances, Shameik Moore and Haley Steinfeld return in lead roles in this one, I would say, and they are both better than ever as Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy. Within the context of the movie, it's been about a year since we've seen them and they've seen each other, and a lot has changed for both of them. Both actors maintain the strong personalities that was set up in the first movie, but bring so much more depth in how they convey and bring these characters to life in this follow-up film. Aside from them, there are tons of side characters and cameos all throughout the movie, and each of them really stands out really well in their own way. More prominently, we have Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, I believe is which Spider-Man he is, and I would say this is potentially one of the best performances of his career, and he's had a very strong career. He's probably one of my favorite actors working today, and this might be some of his best work. It's that good. He brings so much complexity and turmoil to this character, making it such a memorable and incredibly remarkable performance. Jake Johnson also returns as Peter B. Parker. He takes a bit of a sideline on this film as it's more prominently focused on other returning characters and other new characters, but for what he is in the movie, he's great. It's always fun to get more time with his character because it's a really fun performance. He's got this quirky personality, and all, and so like getting to catch up with him, see what he's up to now, the journey that he's on, the lesser of the role that he plays is still fun to see him back. For sake of time, I'm going to go really quick through some other performances I just wanted to at least make note of that I think stood out really well. You have Daniel Kaluuya, the surprise hit as Spider-Punk. Really great, really liked his character. We also have Karan Sani as the Indian Spider-Man, and then we have him just being really unique and charming. I really liked him. He was, I think, introduced about halfway or so through the movie, but he jumps in and it's almost as if he's been there the whole time. The chemistry between all the characters is really, really great. We also have Brian Tyree Henry and Luna Lauren Valles. Hopefully I'm pronouncing both of their names correctly, returning as Miles' parents. Their chemistry is so great. I love both of their characters. We get a lot more screen time with them in this film and a lot of screen time with them together, because a lot of the time in the first movie with them was kind of like individually one-on-one with Miles' character. So we get a lot more interaction between the three of them in this film that I really like. And then Jason Schwartzman as the Spot is a standout for sure. Great performance there. There are many others that pop up throughout as well, maybe even for just a few seconds. I don't even know all of them off the top of my head, but all around performances are really great, top notch in some cases, best of the career in a few cases for this movie. Next, moving on to filmmaking. This is one of the most mind-blowing and impressively animated movies I've ever seen. They're pushing the format further than I think it's ever been pushed. There's painstaking details, absolutely remarkable creativity, and it's oozing with so many different styles and designs that are just constantly impressing you. All of this blended together for what just makes a wholly unique experience. Touching on some themes, much like a lot of different Spider-Man stories, you get the focus on the great power and great responsibility, which is always great to see because that's one of the core values of Spider-Man and one of the reasons people love him so much. And then besides that, you also have a lot of stuff to do with family, loneliness and isolation, which is really interesting as well. And then just doing the right thing. So I really liked all of the different themes that were encompassed throughout this movie, and they all tied together really well. Some with some characters, some with other, but they really either clashed or meshed together really well throughout the film. And moving on to just some miscellaneous points, this movie definitely takes a much darker, more serious, a bit more mature overall tone to it. It's more melancholic in a way, and I really liked that, and I'm kind of surprised at a few moments that they were able to maintain that PG rating. I'm glad that they did, but at the same time, some moments I was like, dang, they're really, really going for it here. They're swinging for the fences when it comes to this very serious and compelling story that's going on. So I really enjoyed that. Another one of my favorite aspects of this movie was the music. The music was incredible. I absolutely loved the soundtrack from the first one and the score as well. I listen to it all the time, and I've already created a playlist now of the two of these soundtracks together because they complement each other so well. They're so creative in what they do of blending songs with score, with moments of the film. It's so hard to distinguish between like sound design and even score in this movie sometimes. All of it just feels so organic and a part of each other. So I absolutely loved the soundtrack for this movie as well. Now, before I dip into some spoiler talk here with these miscellaneous points, I will give my rating of the movie really quick. I usually do not give out a 5-star out of 5-star rating on a first viewing. I think you should at least watch a movie a couple times. There's the rare exception. But for now, I'm going to give this movie a 4.5 out of 5-star rating. This definitely has the potential to hit 5 stars. I'll talk about why when I get into the spoiler stuff. But for me, off the first viewing, it's nearly perfect for sure. So I'm going to give it that 4.5 out of 5. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, this is your final spoiler warning before we jump into it. Thanks for checking out the video, but I do want to get some spoiler talk out of the way because that's a huge part of this movie as well. So one of the first things, Gwen's story, as I said, I loved her story. I feel like she rose up to becoming one of the main characters of the film along with Miles. I think her journey with her relationship with her father, where it starts and where we're introduced to her, the first 20 minutes of the movie at least are all about her and her father's relationship and how it got to where it is today, the struggle that they're both experiencing with the things that they're keeping from each other. All of it was fantastic. And then, like I talked with the creativity of the animation, beautiful, amazing, like oil watercolor paintings that I absolutely loved throughout that sequence as we kind of set up where we were going for this. From that opening scene of that 20-minute introduction with her and her father's relationship, I knew we were already in for a treat with this movie. So I was already fully on board once we got that. Along with her story, I feel like hers is the one that reaches some sense of a resolution by the end of the movie. Miles is very much cut off, and we got to wait for the next movie to come out to see where his goes. But she actually reaches some sense of resolution with her father and understanding between the two of them. So I really liked that. Though Miles is definitely still the main character for this movie, she's right up there neck and neck with him, and getting to get so much more story with her, and then that resolution towards the end really helped to just sweeten the deal of everything with it story-wise. Also, the twist with the Spot going from villain of the week to big bad for the whole movie was brilliant. I loved that. I thought that was really cool because you're getting this introduction to him and you're like, yeah, this will just be a fun, kind of cool villain to enjoy seeing Spider-Man fight. And then it just keeps going and they do more stuff with him. And then you get to learn that they have a lot of connections, Miles, in this Spot. So it was really cool, really well done of getting revenge on Miles's character for not only throwing a bagel at his face, but the whole thing with the collider that the Spot blames him for. So I'm really excited to see where that goes in the next film. Using the Spider-Man canon as a plot point for this movie was ingenious. I was listening to a podcast interview with the director the other day, and they were talking about this, and it's just something that we all were like, how has this not been done before? Because it's brilliant. They take something that's could almost turn meta, but turn it into a plot point that totally fits within the context of the movie. And so, like I said, it's ingenious. So I'm so excited to see how that continues to play into this resolution that we're going to get in the third movie. So one of the coolest parts of the movie for sure was that utilization of the Spider-Man canon. So like I said, Miles's story is only half over at this point, at least for the story that they're telling within this trilogy. That hard cut cliffhanger was tough. I saw it coming. I could see the build up to it. I'd kind of been checking my watch to kind of track the timing of everything, and was like, we're getting ready to make some kind of hard cut. I just don't know exactly where it's going to be. And then it cuts and you're just devastated. So where they chose to cut, it definitely falls into the Dune category for me, where we have Dune Part 1. Dune Part 2 is coming out later this year. It's really hard to comprehensively review this movie only having half of a story for its main character. Yes, you have the Gwen Stacy resolution, and in a way, Miles has reached some resolutions for the story being told in this movie, but as a whole, it really is only half the story so far. So that does make it a little difficult to give this, like I said, that perfect 5-star rating that I'm close to giving this one, but you really got to see where things go in this final chapter before you can give that full comprehensive rating on the film. So that's a bit of the spoiler talk I wanted to do. That pretty much encompasses all of my thoughts on the movie. I've sat on it for a few days or so now and absolutely loved it. One of my favorite movie experiences I've had in a long time. I immediately just fell absolutely in love with this movie. It's a franchise I've started off liking and just fallen in love with the more time I spend with it. And I can't wait to see where we go next with this final chapter of Beyond the Spider-Verse. So thank you for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed my review and thoughts on it. I'd love to hear yours in the comments down below, so please join me there. I know it's a bit of a longer one, but I had a lot to say about this movie. So thanks for checking it out. Thanks for sticking around to the end. I will see you in the next one.